September 19, 1944. Arnhem, Netherlands. Operation Market Garden. British paratroopers surrounded. Starving. Out of ammunition. Dying. They need supplies desperately. Flight Lieutenant David Lord, RAF pilot, flying a Dakota transport. Mission: drop supplies to the trapped paratroopers below. He's on his approach. Low altitude, slow speed. Then, anti-aircraft fire, direct hit. His left engine catches fire. Flames spreading. Entire engine ablaze. His crew: "Sir, we need to bail out, now!" The plane's burning. They're gonna die, but below, British paratroopers are waiting, watching the sky, hoping for supplies. If Lord turns back, and they get nothing. David Lord looks at the fire, looks at his controls, looks down at the paratroopers, makes a decision. We complete the drop. His crew: "Sir, the plane's on fire." Lord: "I know. Drop the supplies anyway." What happened next saved lives, cost him his own, and earned him the Victoria Cross. This is Flight Lieutenant David Lord, the RAF pilot who flew a burning plane to save his men, and chose death over abandoning them. Okay, before I start this story, I gotta say something. Last week we talked about Lorne Campbell, the guy who won the Victoria Cross but committed a war crime. Controversial, complicated, gray area. This week, totally different. David Lord is a pure hero. No complicated moral questions, no debate, just sacrifice. And sometimes we need stories like this. David Samuel Anthony Lord was born October 18, 1913 in Cork, Ireland, to British parents stationed in India. Technically Irish ancestry, but served in British forces. His father was an army officer, stationed in India. Young David was sent to England for school. He loved aviation, wanted to fly. 1936, joined the Royal Air Force. Age 23, pilot training. Did well. Natural talent. 1939. World War II started. David was 26 years old. RAF pilot ready. 1939 to 1944. David flew various operations. Transport pilot, Dakota aircraft. Not sexy, not like fighter pilots, just flying supplies, transporting troops, dropping cargo, but important. Critical. Armies can't fight without supplies, and somebody's got to fly those supplies in. David did that job for years. Lots of missions, lots of flight hours, reliable, calm, professional, but not a hero yet, not a legend yet. Not until September 1944. September 1944. Operation Market Garden. The Allies' most ambitious plan. The idea: drop paratroopers on bridges in the Netherlands. They hold the bridges. Ground forces link up, race through Holland, enter Germany, end the war by Christmas 1944. It was a crazy plan, and it went horribly wrong. September 17th. The paratroopers dropped, including Arnhem. Several thousand British paratroopers. They were supposed to capture the bridges at Arnhem. Expectation: ground forces would reach them in 2 to 3 days. Reality: ground forces got delayed. German resistance was way stronger than expected. The paratroopers were trapped at Arnhem, surrounded by German forces, and the ground forces couldn't reach them. Days passed. The paratroopers fought, but they ran out of food, out of ammunition, out of medical supplies. Wounded men were dying because there were no bandages. Soldiers were passing out from hunger. Guns went silent because there were no bullets. If supplies didn't come, they'd all die. September 18th. The RAF started sending supply flights, Dakota transports, carrying food, ammunition, medicine. They had to fly low over Arnhem, drop the supplies by parachute. But there was a problem. Arnhem was now the most heavily defended airspace in Europe. The Germans controlled everything: anti-aircraft guns, machine guns, and the Dakotas? Slow, big, easy targets. They had to fly slow to drop supplies, 150 miles per hour, 600 feet altitude, sitting ducks. The first supply flights, heavy losses, planes shot down, crews killed, but the paratroopers needed supplies, so the flights continued. September 19th. David Lord was assigned. Dakota KG 374. Crew, 4 men. Flight Lieutenant David Lord, pilot. age 30, Flying Officer Henry Medhurst, Navigator, Flight Sergeant Ronnie Ballantyne, Wireless Operator, Corporal James Ricketts, Dispatcher, Mission, fly to Arnhem, drop supplies, get out. Simple mission. Suicidal execution. David and his crew knew how dangerous it was. They'd seen yesterday's flights, watched planes get shot down, but somebody had to go. The paratroopers were dying down there. David volunteered. September 19th afternoon, Dakota KG 374 took off, loaded with supplies, food, ammunition, medical gear. They flew toward Arnhem. The flight was quiet. No combat yet, but as they got closer to Holland, they got tense because they knew what was coming. They approached Arnhem, descending 600 feet, supply drop altitude, slowing down 150 miles per hour, supply drop speed. They could see the paratroopers' position below. Then it started. German anti-aircraft fire from everywhere, guns, machine guns, flak. The sky filled with exploding metal. David kept flying, steady, toward the drop zone. They got hit. Left engine, direct hit, explosion, flames. The left engine immediately caught fire. David saw the left engine was on fire. The crew saw it. Everyone knew what it meant. Engine fires kill planes fast. The flames spread, reached the fuel. Explosion. They had minutes. Maybe. Standard procedure was clear. Abort, bail out, survive. David could turn around, the crew could jump. They'd all survive, but if they turned back, the paratroopers below get nothing. Still starving. Still out of ammo. Still dying. David Lord looked at the choice. Save yourself. Or complete the mission. Not both. The crew. Sir, we have to jump. The plane's on fire. David, we're dropping the supplies. Crew. Sir. David. Continue to drop zone, drop the supplies, then we'll see. Now hold on a second. Do you understand what this decision means? David wasn't just deciding for himself, he was deciding for his crew. 4 men on that plane. When David said, we're continuing, he was risking all their lives, but here's the thing. The crew didn't object. They could have jumped. David couldn't stop them. But they didn't. They stayed. The navigator, the wireless operator, the dispatcher, they all stayed and helped David because the mission mattered. And those men down there were worth saving. The Dakota continued. Left engine fully ablaze, flames spreading, reaching the wings, smoke filling the cockpit. David could barely see. The navigator could barely see his instruments. But they kept flying. They approached the drop zone. Anti-aircraft fire still coming. Hits still coming. But David held it steady. Burning engine. Smoke-filled cockpit. Death certain. But the mission wasn't done. Drop the supplies. Now. Corporal Ricketts opened the door. Pushed the supplies out. Parachutes deployed. Food. Ammunition. Medical supplies. Falling toward the Arnhem paratroopers. Below. British paratroopers saw it. A burning plane. Coming in. Dropping supplies. Engine fully on fire but still flying. Parachutes opened. Supplies landed. Paratroopers grabbed them. Food. Ammo. Life. Then they watched the plane. Still burning. Flames now spread to the fuselage. It's not turning back. The Dakota flew on fire, then explosion. In the distance, big explosion. The plane broke apart. David Lord and his crew died instantly. 4 men, 4 heroes. They completed their mission and paid the price they knew they'd pay. Imagine you're one of those paratroopers below. Arnhem, September 19th. Surrounded, starving, hopeless. You're looking up at the sky, waiting for supplies. You see a Dakota coming in. You see it get hit. Left engine catches fire. You think, he's turning back. Who'd stay in a plane like that? But he doesn't turn. He's coming straight at you. Burning engine, flames, death flying, then parachutes, supplies falling. To you, food, bandages, bullets, life. The plane passes, still burning. You watch it. You think about the crew. They died for you. They could have jumped. They didn't. They dropped the supplies. Then they died. For you. The Arnhem paratroopers never forgot that. After the war, survivors talked about it. We watched David Lord drop supplies. The plane was burning, it was dying. But he kept coming, dropped supplies to us. Then it exploded. Those supplies saved our lives. And that crew gave their lives to do it. November 1944, David Lord was recommended for the Victoria Cross, posthumously. The citation read, "Displayed supreme courage and devotion to duty. Remained at controls of burning aircraft to ensure supply drop completed. Knew he couldn't save himself or his crew, but put the mission to help besieged troops first. Victoria Cross awarded posthumously. Given to his family. David's mother received it. Lost her son but was proud of him. But here's the thing. David wasn't the only one who died that day. The entire crew died. Flying Officer Medhurst, Flight Sergeant Ballantyne, Corporal Ricketts. They all stayed and helped David. They all could have jumped. They didn't. The Victoria Cross went to David, but the story is about 4 men. 4 men who chose together. Mission first, life second. Those supplies kept the Arnhem Paratroopers alive for several more days. Eventually they were evacuated. Most survived because they had food, ammo, medical supplies that David Lord and his crew dropped at the cost of their lives. Market Garden failed overall. Arnhem was lost. Too many casualties. But those paratroopers were evacuated. They lived to fight another day because of David Lord. What does David Lord's story tell us? Sometimes the mission is bigger than yourself. David could have turned back, could have survived. Nobody would have blamed him. His plane was on fire. Turning back made sense, but he didn't. Because men were dying down there and they needed those supplies. David's choice? Put them before yourself. Put the mission before your life. This wasn't an easy choice. The easy choice would have been to jump, to survive. David made the hard choice, mission, then life. And that choice saved lives, except his own. Last week we talked about Lorne Campbell. He broke the rules to save his men. Controversial, complicated. This week, David Lord, he followed the rules, completed the mission, sacrificed himself. Not controversial, pure. 2 different heroes, 2 different choices, but both wanted the same thing, to save their men. Campbell broke the rules and lived. Lord followed the rules and died. Which is right, both. Because heroism doesn't come in one shape. Sometimes it comes from breaking rules. Sometimes it comes from following them. Sometimes it comes from surviving. Sometimes it comes from dying. But it always comes from putting others before yourself. David Lord did that. He was 30 years old, had his whole life ahead of him, could have gone home. He didn't. He completed his mission and showed us that sometimes the greatest courage isn't dying. It's doing your duty knowing you'll die. If this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe. Every day we rescue forgotten heroes from history. Drop a comment. Had you heard of David Lord before? Know any Arnhem survivor stories? Thanks for watching. Thanks for remembering David Lord and Flying Officer Medhurst and Flight Sergeant Ballantyne and Corporal Ricketts, 4 men. A burning plane, one choice, and they showed us that sometimes life's greatest meaning is dying for others.